welcome back to my channel. I'm here with Vina, the sales manager from GFO Homes. We are here. She's going to talk about just GFO Homes, everything. I'm going to ask her some questions, do a little interview. It's funny because I came in here the other day and I was like, do you want to be my video? And she's like, I gotta get glam first. So we're back, we're glammed.
Yeah, I want to kind of introduce GFO Homes to the DFW market. I'm so excited to get the opportunity to speak and kind of tell more people about us because most people haven't heard of who we are. So Glenn Guillen is actually the founder of GFO Homes, and I'm not sure if people have heard of the Guillen family who started Guillen Homes. And so he had sold his business off and had a non-compete in the area for a while, and now that that's over, he started building in Dallas again. So I'm very excited that I get to be part of what feels like a startup again, but at the same time, it's actually a very established company with people with tons of experience.
What makes GFO Homes unique?
I would go through and say that the biggest differentiating factor between GFO Homes and other builders today is that we really are trying to incorporate a more modern feel to our homes. So it doesn't matter what builder you go into, you have a Texas traditional home. And that could be from the exteriors of the home to the interior finishes. But while builders are trying to stay with the trends, the reality is the larger the builder is, the harder it is to do that because most builders have purchasing power with certain materials and they have a set way of doing things. So to incorporate a change, like you're watching HGTV and you see all these cool flip shows and you see everybody doing all these cool things in their home, and then you walk into a new construction home and you're like, oh, I want the flat baseboards, or I want the freestanding tubs, or I want this and that. And it's kind of like, no, we don't offer that. And it's because they don't have enough of that demand, or they don't have enough of the ability to provide those types of finishes on a mass scale. And so it takes that process almost like 5 years to come into play, and once that happens, that trend might be gone. So it's really great to be in a smaller builder that's one of the fastest growing builders in the Texas area right now, but to be able to go through, start somewhere new, and be able to incorporate everything that's kind of trending right now into our homes.
Yeah, so it's so cute, guys. It's so trendy. After we're done, I'll go around and show y'all a little bit more of it. Do y'all have any incentives for buyers right now?
We do. One of the biggest incentives that we have, it's kind of all about financing today. So if you're keeping up with any of what's happening in the market right now, everyone's talking about interest rates. Interest rates are going up, interest rates are going up. So GFO is trying to incorporate an incentive here that's going to offset some of that burden of the higher rates by giving you closing costs to kind of bring it down. Now that depends on the home that you're purchasing and so forth, but once all those details are kind of worked out and whatnot, I'd be happy to send that over to you. But that's the way that today, if I were to take $20,000 off the price of the home, that doesn't really affect your payment by more than like 40, 50 bucks, you know? But if I were to give you closing cost incentives and I buy your rate down by 1 point or 2 points, that's saving you anywhere from $400 to $800 a month. So people focus a lot on price when they should really focus a lot more attention on their payment. What is it that they could afford on a monthly basis, and how can we help you get to that, get you the maximum amount of home that we can and a payment that you're comfortable with.
How long would it typically be to build?
Funny thing you asked that, because so there are some builders that are still actually building from the ground up for people today. Other builders have taken more of an inventory approach. What happens when you take an inventory approach is you're kind of going through and isolating those costs up front. You know exactly what you're going to get and what's available. Allowing a person to go into a design studio, say, and like pick everything out. We run a lot of challenges with like, is that material going to be ready when we need it? Is it going to get discontinued between now and then? You know, is that going to delay any process by picking this brick or doing this and that? So GFO's actually taken that initiative of being able to go in and kind of work with all of our vendors and be like, give me your top bricks that are all available. Give me a list of all the countertops that we can get that will be available, tile that will be available, and so on and so forth. And by doing so, we're able to go through and get a home finished and in an earlier time than it would if we were to just allow people to build. So So typically on average, it would take, in a normal market, it was around 6 to 8 months. I think like with all the changes since that horrible COVID that has introduced itself, is like you're kind of teeter-tottering between 8 to 10 months.
Okay.
So
I feel like that like takes the stress off the buyers as well, because you're not worrying about, oh, is this going to be, am I going to be able to have this tile? Am I going to be able to have this bricks?
Yeah.
How many communities do y'all have?
we have a ton in Austin. We're opening up in Houston as well, but in the Dallas market, we currently have 4. We also have several communities that are online to open up this year. So they've already started like inventories like in other neighborhoods and so forth, but it's going to be just a little bit before we market it, just because we want our models up and going before we do that.
Okay, last one. What's one thing you would tell buyers right now?
My best advice to all buyers in the market would be is that I can't express to you how often I have people come into here and say, I wish I would have bought sooner. And I know there's tons of people out there thinking right now, oh my gosh, it's a terrible time to buy, it's a complete seller's market and rates are going high and this and that. Well, if you're thinking that today, when all of the news in the world right now is only pointing to higher interest rates later, I'm going to strongly suggest rates are still in the 5s. And when I bought my first home, the rates were higher. I know I look incredibly young, but you know, I bought my home a long time ago.
No way.
Yeah.
No, you're not old enough.
But back in 2007, when I bought my home, rates were actually in the upper 5s. Rates today are really close to where they were in like 2018, 2019. So it wasn't like it's just oh my gosh, rates are going up there. Rates are stabilizing. It's to offset the inflation. It's to offset the market. We need it. Unfortunately, if you haven't bought, that's what my biggest advice would be, is definitely try to buy now before you wait another year and you're like, oh my gosh, I should have bought so many years ago.
Thank you for letting me interview you. I loved it. Bye guys. Good job. That was so awesome. We didn't even have to redo anything.